I think COVID was a particular challenge in a couple of ways. One was just the scale, but the other was the newness of it. So and the severity of it. So as an illness, obviously we'd never seen it before, and it didn't behave like anything we'd seen before. So for instance, the point at which there was no way back for someone seemed to be different with COVID. Like they could be beyond recovery and then recover.
Right.
Sometimes. And that was really hard in a pandemic where there was, rather than having 35 ICU patients, we had 120. So the combination was really difficult. And then there was this sort of scale of the number of people who died, which was, like a career's worth in a year or whatever it was. I don't know, but it was very out of the ordinary, obviously. So I think we were, although at the time you just get on with it, and there is a bit of sort of adrenaline and there's camaraderie and all those things. You sort of, as it finished, a lot of us, I think, sort of weren't quite behaving normally. A colleague of mine said, I said, "Are you feeling all right?" He said, "Well, I sort of am, but I haven't slept beyond 3:30 a.m. for 6 months." And I went, "Oh, that doesn't sound great."
That's key adrenaline wake-up time as well, isn't it?
I guess so. And so I think it was quite common. Anyway, then I had a case that wasn't good.
Linda?
So Linda was a patient that I looked after in 2021 and who died. And it was just the sort of catalyst to my mental health deteriorating. And that was the sort of final straw that broke the camel's back, I think. And I just sort of, I went into it. I mean, it was mainly anxiety, but, I think it's a spectrum, isn't it? But I just couldn't, my big thing was ruminating. I just got into a sort of ruminating cycle. I couldn't think about anything else, or, I'd go for a walk and I'd see people just laughing and I'd feel incredibly angry with them. And it was a very odd, overwhelming thing. And I was just very lucky because, my family were lovely. My kids, I mean, it was really interesting. They just completely got it. And even though, that they were 12 at the time, and you'd have thought they were just obsessed with their own lives, which I think they may. No, they're not. They're lovely. But they completely got it. My wife was amazing. And then I had a friend who's a psychiatrist, and I just spoke to him, and he just, after 10 minutes, he said, "I think you need to go and see a GP." And then I was, well, there were two things I was lucky about. One was I overshare, as you're probably getting, so I talked about it, and the other was that I never didn't want to get better. So I never had that. I didn't know if I was going to get better, but I knew that I wanted to, which I think some people don't have, probably.
The darkness.
It just feels like that's all there is, and I didn't have that.
Did you feel, and I'm going to project here because I've talked on the podcast before about struggling with mental health at times in my life, and I think the thing when I look back that feels the most sinister about it is that it's a very gradual sort of mist or fog that enters the mind. And by the time you notice how bad it is, you're almost enveloped in it, but in a way where because it's happened so slowly, you think it's normal.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's an element of that for me in that I had an event that made it clear, but probably I'd been ignoring it beforehand. So I think I'd been doing things to like I've been trying to eradicate risk at work when you can't, and various things. And I got these psychological tools. Like if there was a case presented where it went badly, in my mind I'd pick out a moment where I'd have done something different so that it wouldn't have gone badly. All these kind of tricks of the mind to kid myself that it couldn't happen to me, sort of thing. Which I don't think are healthy. I think you've got to accept the world you live in. So it was quite a sudden thing, but actually probably just it was there before, and I just hadn't addressed it properly.